All right. GameWeek's back. It's your boy Ivy's right here to bring you the NBA Fantasy Salary Cup edition. It's all systems go. The NBA is on the way, and the games are fast flowing and coming down too fast. So we finally concluded game week 2 with the final games on game day 7, and we are going to go through all the games and of course the fixtures that will kick off game week 3 right ahead. So jumping straight into the points, here I managed to get above the average, which is generally has been a very good game week 2 in spite of my horrendous game week 1 where I failed to use my captain chip. But this time round, it was all systems go. Or the game day 1 where I triggered my captain chip. That was on Nikola Jokic, and of course that has proved to be a wise decision in this game week. A lot is ahead. I'm also going to surprise you, something I've done that I had hoped I wouldn't have to do, but I've had to do it considering all things. All right, so that is how the score was for me. I managed to get final game day points of 156, and of course Wembanyama had a horrendous game. We shall look at that. Burlow wasn't able to play, and that is actually one of the reasons of the impending surprise that you're going to find out shortly. Reeves was amazing, too amazing that he also prompted me to do something that I thought I would not do. But all that yet to be revealed. Edgecombe and Mitchell, these are the usual suspects, consistent as always. They came through for me, 33, 34 respectively. On the bench I had Tyson and Jones. This time round it was a good decision considering I could only play 3 in the back court. Alright, so that was the team right there. So jumping into the games, of course, it kicked off with an early game week tip-off, and that was between the New Orleans Pelicans taking on the defending champions Oklahoma City Thunders in Oklahoma, and that was a blowout. 106 to 137 to Oklahoma, and of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 30 points in that one. Zion Williams is actually playing well, to be quite honest. He's a very good player. It's just that I don't know, maybe the team is not gelling, or maybe the opponents are the tough ones he has started with. Because when you see Wemby, he played Memphis in that game. Boston, he didn't play. Denver Nuggets, Clippers, then OKC. You could say that he has started with tough fixtures, and hopefully things will ease up as the season goes on for the New Orleans Pelicans, and maybe they can start seeing some wins right there. But they lost that one. Of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander came through. Aaron Wiggins right there, managing to pull 21 points. Shai managed to pull 49 points in the game. And of course, in third place came Hartenstein. Here is our boy right here, AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell is a bit cruising, more or less, but he's consistently high. His points are not, they're reliable. So 34 points in this one, after scoring 10 points in the game, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds with 1 steal right there. Okay, Kovan Looney is actually in Memphis. Interesting. Came from Golden State Warriors. There he is. He's a reliable customer. Once he starts playing, you will get points from him, but no good points though. So do not quote me there. I'm not saying you should get him. Yeah. So that is how the first game ended. Then of course we went to New York, where the Brooklyn Nets were hosting Philly, the 76ers. And thankfully, thankfully, Embiid wasn't able to play, so which meant Edgecombe could get a bit more time. But I'm seeing Oubre scored the most on the 76ers side and managed to pull 38 points in the game. Tyree Maxey was leading the leaderboard for the most points per game in the season, but he has been surpassed after this game day by Giannis Antetokounmpo in points per game average. Yeah, so in this game, Tyrese managed to pull 49 points, fantasy points for us right there. But in the game, he scored 26 points. And of course, that brought down his average. If you're to see, he was actually averaging highly. He was passed by Giannis Antetokounmpo. So the current leaderboard states Giannis as number one with 34.2 points per game, and Tyrese in number two with 33.7 per game. But of course, closely followed by just a single point one, Shea Gilgis Alexander. You know, that man was the highest point scorer last season, and this time round he wants to reclaim his title. So Shea comes in third place with 33.6. So which is just a 1 point, not even 1 point. I don't know how to refer to that. Tyrese in second place has 33.7, and Shea Gilgis Alexander in third place has 36.6. Then Larry Marketing comes in fourth place with 33.0, and Jalen Branson in fifth place to cap it all off with 31.2. Austin Reeves fell into sixth. He's languishing there, but he's not so far off. 31.1. Shall have a look at him right there. So Tyrese Maxey is there, consistent as always. Quinton Grimes with 60 points. Wow, that's amazing. Quinton Grimes got that from the assists. Maybe I should have gotten Quinton Grimes. Anyway, more to come on that. Then Edgecombe came through with 33 points for us, managed to score 16 points in the game, and scoop three steals right there. Cam Thomas on the other side managed to score 32 points right there for the Brooklyn Nets. So that capped up the second game. Then of course Larry Marketing, like I told you, Larry Marketing is actually number four in the leaderboard of the most points scored. The highest point average per game scored. It's Larry Marketing coming in the fourth place with averaging 33.0 points per game. So he managed to pull off 42 points in this one, and he scored 29 in the game. 7 rebounds and 3 assists right there for Larry. And I could say his price is not bad. It's just that you shouldn't build around him. Yeah. Then Kato, Kayante George. Interesting names right there. Kayante George managed to score 47 points in that game. Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets right there with 45 points, managed to score 29 points in the game. And of course, LaMelo Ball did not show up for this one. think he was rested or something because he wasn't listed among the injured players. So maybe we shall find out shortly. Then the Atlanta Hawks were in the mix, losing yet another game without their star player out there. So that's Jalen Johnson with the most points, 49 in the game. Managed to score 23 points right there. Then the usual suspects, Dyson Daniels, highly costs very, very highly than he always does. But just you look at this column, he is a very, very good steals magnet right there. With 18 points in the game, managed to score 43. So if you can afford him, I would advise you get him. So Donovan Mitchell came back and managed to pull off a 58 points in the game, scoring 37 in the game. Wow, that is a very, very, very welcoming return. Porzingis right there, I had him, you remember, but he's not consistent. That's the only problem. Is 15 points, he's scoring 15 points in that one, and of course Atlanta could not salvage that one. Then the Memphis Grizzlies took on the Toronto Raptors. Toronto Raptors. Now Toronto Raptors managed to beat Memphis Grizzlies, and of course Jackson, who wasn't himself in the game against I think Golden State Warriors, managed to pull off 20 points and of course 35 fantasy points right there. Now, among the contenders early in the night was a Toronto Raptor, a contender for player of the night. Of course, we had not Josh Giddy, it was actually, yes, Scotty Barnes actually right there. He was among the contenders earlier on. Of course, their game came on earlier on, and he was actually the high scorer at the time with 65 fantasy points right there for Scotty Barnes. And of course, in the NBA, he's averaging 20.6 points per game and 7.4 rebounds per game and 5 assists per game. So he's actually a very, very good serviceable player. If you can get him into your squad, it's just that he's a bit expensive. But if you can get him, well and good. That was Scotty Barnes. He was actually earlier on in the game as we were playing. He was the one leading, if you can see right here. He was playing so well. It's just that his price is actually high. Yet remember the average score inconsistently, but you could risk it and have him into your squad and actually build around him. He's a bit not consistent, but he will give you 2 points every other game. So then we went to the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, the resurgence of the golden days of MJ were starting to be true, but someone threw a spanner in the works. This was the first spanner that they threw in the works, and it was thrown by the New York Knicks against the Chicago Bulls. So the Chicago Bulls lost that one, 116 to 128 to the New York Knicks, and of course Brunson. You can imagine Brunson was consistent, very, very, very consistent player. Look at that, very, very consistent player. So in the game, he managed to score 48 fantasy points and 31 points in the game there for Brunson. Then Kyle Anthony Towns is the one I'm looking for. 51, 20 points in the game, 15 rebounds, and 2 blocks right there for Kyle Anthony Towns. So you can consider him. Vucevic, 42 in the game, 17 in the game, 42 fantasy points with 14 rebounds and 17 points right there for Vucevic. Then immediately after the Toronto games, the contender shifted to Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey actually was also a contender. You see, he had 65 points, which is the same as what Scotty Barnes had in the game. So earlier on, we had Scotty Barnes, if you to see, he had 65 fantasy points right there. And Josh Giddey also managed to score 65 fantasy points in the game. So the contender of player of the night was between Scotty Barnes and Josh Giddey. But if you're to see the numbers, Josh Giddey is actually slightly better than Barnes. Barnes averages 20.6 points per game, whereas Josh Giddey is averaging 22.2 points per game. Then the rebounds, Scotty Barnes 7.4 rebounds per game to Josh's 9.3. Josh is actually balling close to a double-double and a triple-double, whereas Scotty Barnes has 5 assists per game. Giddey is averaging 8.7 assists per game. He's close to even a triple-double average. Interesting. Just shy of the double-double at least. So yeah, right there, Josh Giddey managed to score 23 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, 0 blocks, 2 steals, and a total of 65 points in the game. So can you guess who the player of the night was? I will leave that to you. You will let me know, and we shall reveal the player towards the end of the stream. All right, so the Chicago Bulls lost right there. Jones did well. I had him in my team, but he was on the bench, so he scored 30 points in that game. So as the night cruised on, we were left with just 2 games, and boy, oh boy, were they thrillers. So again, another spanner was thrown into the works. The unbeaten San Antonio Spurs, who were 5-0, finally got a loss against the Phoenix, an unlikely loss. I mean, we didn't expect the Phoenix to beat them, but boy, was it a barrage of threes they could not handle. And then the defense was actually on point against Wemby, and I think I have some highlights on that. Let me just check a bit. Just hold on. So this is the Chicago Knicks game. But of course, this was the first spanner in the works, where the Knicks beat Bulls. Josh Giddey right there with a turnover and an OB with a basket. So you could see things were falling apart in the third right there. This is Josh Giddey actually bowled on the night. Yeah, which was good. Then, of course, people like Brusselli. That's a nice pass for Josh Giddey. Can't wait for Kobe White to return, just to add some strength to these guys, because they are playing so well. They could be contenders actually. So the game went on well, but they ended up losing. So I am not going to go much into it. So this is Andanobi. Brusselli there trying to defend. I just hope this machine doesn't freeze again. So I'm just going to the next set of highlights. Okay, so this is the Toronto Raptors Memphis. Let's skip that. Want to go to the Suns. San Antonio Spurs. So this is the game of the Spurs. So they were playing so well. They managed to handle Wembanyama in that game. The defenders they always had a man on Wemby, pushing him around, not giving him chance to stand and get those rebounds. He tried to shoot from outside, which he actually managed to do, but of course it wasn't as good. So they ended up losing that game, and of course losing their clean sheet. Then before we go to the Lakers highlights, just want to take you through the San Antonio Spurs scores. Devin Booker was on fire right there, managed to score 59 points in the game. That's the fantasy points. Then, of course, in the game, he managed to score 28 and 13 assists with one steal in that game. So then we look at Castle. Actually, this was the worst game that Wembanyama played so far this season. And of course, if we are to see, Devin Booker currently in the NBA is averaging 30.0 points. That's 30 points per game. And of course, I'm just looking for Wembanyama. Wembanyama is currently averaging 26.7 points per game in the NBA. So this was the worst of all. If you're to see, scored 69 in the first game, 74, 80, then dipped to 53, but still not bad, 75, then to the worst score of the season for him. That is 37 points, fantasy points in that game against Phoenix. He only managed to score 9 points in the game, made 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 blocks, which is still high, his average of blocks in each game. But that was a bad game for him. Let's hope he can bounce back. So then, just looking, of course, Castle is the one that carried the load for them in the absentia of Wembanyama scoring 26 points and getting 52 fantasy points in that one right there. Grayson Allen was actually good as well. Managed to score 60 in the game. He managed to score 26 points and 17 in the game there for Grayson Allen. Okay, then of course to top it all off, it was the Miami Heat at Los Angeles Lakers, and guess who was in the play? Of course, we had Luka with 60 points right there in the game. 69 points, well, 68 in the previous one. Luka is just something else. But you could say he had a terrible shooting night out there. His three was not dropping as it usually does. So he managed to score 29 points right there, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. And of course, that was his triple double to cap it up with 3 steals and a total of 69 points in that game. Then, of course, closely followed by Austin Reeves with 52 points in the game. Austin Reeves managed to score 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 11 assists. That's a double-double for Austin Reeves in that game. Then, wow, Jakeem Jaquez Jr. was amazing in this game. If you watched it, he was all over the place. His movement is on point. He was just amazing. So if you can afford him, I would advise you get him. It's just that it's a bit too late for me. I'm going to show you why. So in the game, he managed to score 31, made 8 rebounds and 4 assists. That was Jakeem. And of course, Bam Adebayo was also present. He managed to score 17 points in the game and scored 47 fantasy points right there for the Miami Heat. But it wasn't enough. They managed to lose that game to the Lakers just by 10 points. And I think I have some highlights right there for you. So the Lakers had the best first half of their games this season. So these are the highlights from the first half. That was Rule with a 3, the first assist of. Then this was a steal for Marcus Smart to Rui Hachimura with a dunk. Wow, look at that steal. The things that he does do not show up on the score sheet, but they are amazing intangibles. That's Luka with yet another rebound. Luka moves in with a mid-range. That's a foul. That's an and one for Luka. Look at that. The balance of this man. Once he goes off, you can't stop him. So, of course, he made that. That was 3. Then Reeves showed up. Wow. This is Jackson Hayes with a pick and roll for them. Louis with a rebound. Luka misses. Jackson Hayes with a tip. And that was in. Then Luka with a cross-court pass. More or less like Nikola Jokic's no-look passes. That was Luka's. That's a steal, Luka. Luka with another steal. Remember, he got 3 in this game. So those are 2 in the first half. And they lob to Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes with a 3 right there. They were awesome in the first half. Look at all that. Jackson Hayes with another early hoop. Wow. That's another one from Reeves. Basket actually counted in spite of the foul. That's a rebound. That's Luka with a rebound and a cross to Lavia. That's Brony with Lavia. Basket, Lorevia. Then Reeves with a lob for Brony. That was Brony's first points of the season. LeBron Junior, that's the son. Vanderbilt. This is Wiggins. Wiggins is actually bowling, but things are not going well for him in the Miami Heat. That's a steal. So this is in the second half. I'm just going to skip to the end, but I wanted to highlight the fact that they had a very, very good first half. And I ended up winning the game, of course, with 10 points. This is Reeves. He fell, but then he came back and made that basket. Exactly. Then Lorevia. That was a lob for Lorevia in the last 5 minutes. That's wow. They're jailing so well. That's why I keep on saying that LeBron should not come back because this team is actually jailing well. They are young enough. And if they play together continuously, they will even get better. I do not know why commentators keep on saying that LeBron should come back, yet his box plus minus are actually bad. Every time he's on court, he costs the Lakers points. He gets to the bench and the Lakers put on a run. They go on a run when he's on the bench. So that's how it ended. 120 to 130, the Lakers winning that one. So it was a fun night all together and together. So just going back to the to the games. So that capped it all up for the games that we had on the night. And so that was it. So looking at tomorrow, just a few hours away from deadline, we shall have Minnesota Timberwolves taking on Brooklyn Nets. The Milwaukee Bucks will be taking on Indiana Pacers. Utah Jazz and Larry Marketing will be taking on the injured Boston Celtics. Washington Wizards will be taking on New York Knicks. Cooper Flag and the Dallas Mavericks will be taking on KD and the Houston Rockets. Cade Cunningham's Detroit Pistons will be taking on Memphis Grizzlies. Sacramento Kings will be taking on Nikola Jokic's the Joker's Denver Nuggets. Then the LA Lakers will be in a back-to-back game taking on Portland Trail Blazers. And we know Portland Trail Blazers have Dame Time is back from injury after signing that deal and moving away from Giannis Antetokounmpo's Milwaukee Bucks, returning back home in Portland. Let's see what Lillard can do. Maybe push the LA Lakers to the edge. Then Miami Heat, of course, will take on LA Clippers to cap off the first day of game week 3. So, going into the way my team stands, my lineup tonight will be, so the surprise, I hope you're not shocked, but I did take a hit. I made my 2 transfers, the free transfers that you get every game week, plus 2 extra transfers. So 4 in total, 2 are free. The two are actually 100 points each, so I've lost 200 points in this transfer. And this is my squad. Of course, I maintain the Joker and Keishan Jones. I did not bring Luka like I had promised I would or hoped I would. I decided to stay with Reeves so that I can bring in Jules Holiday and Rollins. And of course, on the bench, I brought Mino, kept Mitchell, brought Caleb Burner, that boy from Hornets, kept Edgecombe, and Wembanyama. So that's the squad that I have that is going to take me through this week. I hope I can recoup the 200 points that I've lost. But I think the squad is well and good. Everyone is healthy. I had some injuries and some players that were not static. So I believe these ones are all starters, or okay, they're not starters, but at least they get some good minutes, even if they're coming off the bench. So I am optimistic about this lineup, and I think they will play well. So tonight I'm fielding Nikola Jokic and George in the front court, and in the back court I have Reeves, Jules Holiday, Rollins, and on the bench I have Mignon. The rest are not playing. So that's the squad for tonight. I am not playing the captains yet. I'm planning to play the captains either at Golden State Warriors. Yeah, I'm thinking Golden State Warriors should push the Joker to the edge, and hopefully I can get some good points from him right there. Okay, so that's the squad. Then, of course, looking at remember, people, you can tell me who the player of the day is. If you can guess who that is. So in the front court, that was the next tip is that is in the back court. So I'm not going to show you, but you can be guessing right now. So it's Scotty Barnes who led the way right there with 65 in the front court. Kyle Anthony Towns in second place. Loravia had a very good game in this game, scoring 51 points. Then Isaiah Hardenstein with 51 and Jalen Johnson. Can you guess who the player of the night is? Is it Josh Giddey? No. Is it Scotty Barnes? No. It is none other than Magic. Luka Magic. This boy is awesome. He's averaging currently 41 points per game, 11.5 rebounds per game. That's a double-double. He's averaging a double-double. Then 8.3 assists per game. So tonight he managed to score 69 fantasy points after scoring 29 in the game, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. That was his 83rd triple-double. So he's fast pushing, but I don't think he will catch up to Oscar Robertson and, of course, Nikola Jokic, who's currently in second place right behind Oscar Robertson. So that was Luka, our player of the night in the game. So, and indeed, there he is, 69. 65, Josh Giddey came in second place. Quinton Grimes, 60. Devin Booker, 59. And Donovan Mitchell, 58. So, yeah, it's all systems go. Let's hope you can field the full team in the first game. Rollins, that's the reason why I brought him in. He's actually among the most picked up players as we speak. Luka Doncic, I had hoped to bring him in, but he's too expensive, so I decided to go with the cheaper option right there. Then Keishan George, I have him. AJ Mitchell, I have him. Jules Holiday, I just brought him in. I just hope he jails with the new acquisition, Lillard, right there. So LaMelo Ball is actually injured. Remember us talking about him. He has an ankle injury. He was missing in action. Then Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, people are shedding him. Wembanyama had a terrible game. I can see why they would shed him as well. Then Steph Curry is just expensive. I don't think he's worth the price tag. He's not consistent. Yeah, he can have an odd game here and there, but he's not as consistent. All right, so guys, that wraps it up. I hope this helps you out as we start game week 3, day 1, which is just hours away. All the best, and until next time, I will be bringing you, of course, updates as everything goes on. Thank you very much for your attention. Peace out.